Butler, I love a good game night.
Then Field, you're in luck, because I've got a game for you. Marvel Dice Throne is a fast and fun board game for all ages.
That's right. Each player selects one of 8 heroes to face off in a head-to-head battle to see who earns the right to take the throne.
Gameplay involves strategically rolling dice to activate special abilities, playing unique hero cards to manipulate results, and upgrading your hero board to power up your stats.
This is currently being crowdfunded on Kickstarter and will have Kickstarter exclusives. Go there now to reserve your copy.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Behind you. I'm behind you. I am right behind you. Don't be scared. I just want to play a game with you. If you don't come play with me, then we will kill you.
Every episode we do is just a lead up to Forgotten Horror.
She clearly stirred her coffee with her glasses. I was like, what are you doing?
This is not jazz, dude. Oh, they eat it like a
They're
jazz.
like motorboarding the nets.
Yeah. Keep it spooky, y'all.
Hi, I'm Mike Field.
And I'm Mike Butler.
And you're now entering the world of the macabre, where no one will save you as you bleed out. Welcome to Forgotten Horror, our final episode this year.
Oh.
Each episode, we'll discuss a film that was forgotten by audiences. Perhaps they were too busy running from feral vampires on the snowy tundra. Maybe they accidentally drank a vial of slime and became Satan personified. Or maybe they're just having nightmares after reading a few good books. We'll discuss what we love about the movie or perhaps don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it. If you're not too scared of our podcast, like Jessica, we want to hear from you. We're on Instagram and Facebook. Find us, or we'll find you. Our podcast is available on all platforms for your listening displeasure. And it's over, Butler. Forgotten Horror has ended.
I feel like you always love when it ends.
I don't
You
know.
sick son of
Everything dies, Butler. What are we doing this week for our final episode of our 3rd annual Forgotten Horror?
Woo! We are doing...
What is with the woos?
It's the 3rd annual. I think
Okay,
that's kind
all
of
right,
exciting. We are doing 1971's Let's Scare Jessica to Death. A recently institutionalized woman has bizarre experiences after moving into a supposedly haunted country farmhouse and fears she may be losing her sanity once again.
That's it? Oh,
That's it.
that's it?
I think it's an all right synopsis.
Hey, sure.
It's straight and to the point, and it didn't get anything wrong, which they usually do.
Didn't get anything wrong. All right. That's good. No good. All right. So Let's Scare Jessica to Death has a runtime of 89 minutes. It's rated GP. So real quickly, GP was the old rating that the MPAA used, and it replaced the M rating. GP means suggested for general audiences, but parental guidance is advised. Now, this was replaced in 1972 because a lot of people mistook it that it meant general patronage. So this GP rating is only used from 1970 until 72 when the PG rating was concocted and replaced it. So
PG makes more sense.
Little background there on the GP rating.
Yeah.
Has a production budget of, depends on where you look, $180,000 to $250,000. Its release date was Friday, August 27th, 1971, as Butler said. Its opening weekend, it did $47,000. And then I have nothing else after that. There's no other, I could not find any other, how much it made total or in general, like domestic or worldwide. I don't think it had a huge release. Now, remember, with movies back in the 70s and 80s, they really don't have there's a wide release for a film would be not even a wide release where it is now, which is like 3,400 screens or something like that.
Right.
So you're not going to get a lot of big numbers anyways back then. And this is an indie film, so definitely not going to get that. The production company is the Jessica Company, which was probably just made for this movie, and they're distributed by Paramount Pictures. Now, there's nothing else. I'm going to give you some movie releases that are around this time, but nothing came out at the same time this movie did. You had on the 27th of September, which is a full month behind. Full month ahead. No, not ahead. A full month after this film is The Trojan Woman. October 1st, you had A Safe Place. Before the 27th of August, when this movie came out, you had the 18th of August, which was Fool's Parade, and then The Panic in Needle Park on July 13th. So I'm sure many people probably know about The Panic in Needle Park. But other than that, I bet you no one's ever heard of those other films unless you're much older than I am. So you had directed by John Hancock, who did Bang the Drum Slowly, Weeds, Prancer, and he was nominated for an Academy Award for a short film for Sticky My Fingers, Fleet My Feet. It was also written by Hancock and Lee Kalchim, but they actually have the writing credits are different for some reason. So they use a different writing credit. So Hancock is credited as Ralph Rose, and then Kalchim is credited as Norman Jones. I don't know. I couldn't find out why they did that.
Ralph Rose.
Yeah, no. So Hancock has written, actually, one of the other movies he wrote was Weeds. That's the one he did. Kalchim has done Blood of the Iron Maiden and the TV show Something Wilder. Cinematography by Robert Baldwin, who has done Frankenhooker, Basket Case 2, and McBain, amongst other films. Composer was Orville Stober, who did Weeds, Suspended Animation, and The Looking Glass. Edited by Murray Solomon. He did Diary of the Dead, Stigma, and has an uncredited credit, I guess, for The Godfather. It says New York, so I'm wondering if he just did some of the New York stuff. Well, yeah, whatever. Or maybe they just edited a little bit in the city. Who knows? They really couldn't find anything on that. And produced by Charles B. Moss Jr., who did Diary of the Dead and Stigma. Not a big cast. You had Zaru Lampert as Jessica. She's in Stanley and Iris. She was also in The Exorcist 3, and she won an Emmy for a guest role on the TV show Kojak. Barton Heyman as Duncan. He's in the first Exorcist. He's also in Cruisin', the Al Pacino film. Watch that; it's very good. And The Secret of My Success. I couldn't figure out which one he was in. The Secret of My Success. I think he's one of the guys. Yeah.
Is he maybe the guy that couldn't run on the rooftop?
No, that guy is in other stuff. Okay. I don't think so. Kevin O'Connor as Woody. He's in the TV show The Doctors. He's also in The Brinks Job. In It's Alive 3, Island of the Alive. Have you ever seen the It's Alive movies?
No.
Yeah, I've seen the first one, and I didn't realize there was 3. But it's like... trying to think. No, it's a horror film. Yeah, but it's like the poster, I believe. No, I'm thinking a Basket Case. That's with the basket and it's bloody. But It's Alive, I think, was with the baby, the bassinet. I believe that was.
I'm on it. It's a bassinet.
Yeah.
It's just black and white with a hand sticking out.
Yeah, it's
creepy hand.
Well, they did 3 of them. Gretchen Corbett as the girl. She's in the TV show The Rockford Files. She's also in Pig. Well, I just saw that with Nicolas Cage. I believe she's the older woman in Pig who goes and who sells the mushrooms. You didn't see it, so you don't know what I'm talking about.
Continue.
But I suggest watch Pig. It's really good. The Other Side of the Mountain, and she's also in The Other Side of the Mountain Part 2. Alan Manson as Sam Dorker, unfortunate name there. The Devil's Advocate, The Doors, and Cafe Society. And then Marie-Claire Costello as Emily. She's in Ordinary People, Indecent Proposal, and the TV show The Waltons. All right, so... the reason why this is on the list is because last year when we were doing, well, I guess it was around October when a lot of the other podcasters were doing horror films, this movie kept coming up that people were watching and I'd never heard of it before. And then I realized, and then I looking into it a little bit, it was, I didn't realize that it was a movie that was shot on location in the state that we're in right now, Connecticut. Our home state, obviously. So I put it on the list because I just wanted something that maybe I hadn't seen before, and that it's almost like a group think suggestion where people are like, "Oh, this movie's good. Oh, this movie's good." I'll put it on the list. Why not?
Sure.
So this was the first time I had ever watched it, and I know it's the first time you had ever watched it, right?
And there's not that many films that we've done where that has happened.
Yeah, true. So for people that are in the Connecticut area, just give you a real update. It was shot on location: East Haddam, Chester, Essex, and Old Saybrook. Both inside and out. I believe they shot at the Dickinson house.
I know the outdoor house is different than the inside house.
I know the inside is the Dickinson house, and they also used it as their staging area as well. So they just kind
Bishop house was the exterior.
Okay, yeah. So for those in that area, this movie was shot there. This is a primarily New York crew. This is obviously Hancock did a lot of stuff on stage in the city. So a lot of these people he's worked with that when they started doing the movie. I don't know what that was. So I guess real quick, I don't know. I'm trying to think what's the first thing that you start watching the movie?
Yep.
And what's the first thing you're thinking?
The music sucks.
Whoa.
The music is bad.
Did you not like this film?
No, I did not like it.
Really?
I did not like it
at
all.
All right.
The music is bad. That was the first thing I came up.
Well, it's the 70s, right after the 60s. have ended. So you're going to get that style of music.
Oh, I get
You know
the
what I
creepy
mean?
piano. The Evil Dead started with the same creepy piano.
Sure.
But it was a much better tune. This is like out of tune and just not good. And it's not even like trying to be creepy. It's just it's a bad song.
Okay.
I did notice that in the very first shot, which is the end of the film, which is bookended for some reason, the water is going at a high speed.
Oh, maybe that's just,
which I thought was a little odd. That was the first thing. That was the first thing I noticed before the music.
See, the first thing I noticed was that I actually thought that it looked really nice. Like the shot, it's like a lot of older films sometimes don't hold up in terms visually, maybe either the film print or just in general, the look of the movie. But I actually thought that it had a lot of, it looked good. It looked like, it didn't feel like a 71 film. It maybe felt like maybe an 80, 85 film, like in 1985. I didn't think it was that bad.
No, it
really
looks old. I mean, I will say
I didn't find that.
the camera work and I do like their use of color in the film is really nice, but it looks like a 1970s film. It looks like a 1970s horror film with less boobs and sex in it. But it's that same kind of almost exploitation horror film look.
Okay.
But they do play with color in a really cool way.
Mm-hmm.
And even though they're on location all the time, I think the use of color does make it look a little less independent.
Okay.
And also you're in upstate Connecticut, which is a very picturesque and nice location. So even though it's a haunted area, it looks nice. I also enjoyed the fact that it's a horror film about quasi vampires. Well, but it's all daylight. Yeah. It's very few night shots.
Well, there's a lot of day for night in the movie, definitely. That was the one thing I didn't know going in that it was about a vampire. And I know that the original script was written by Lee Kalchim, and it was actually titled "It Drinks Hippie Blood." And the original story is about a group of hippies camping on the cove, and they're attacked by a creature that lives in the water. So that was the script, and it was supposed to be a satire.
Would have been a much better movie.
And then Hancock took the script, rewrote it, and he gave it a more serious and darker tone. Now, I don't know if Hancock purposely did this, but the movie has a lot of similarities to the 1871 novel Carmilla.
I did see that, yep.
By Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. And that book is about a female vampire named Carmilla who influences a young woman. And it deals with a lot of kind of the idea of vampirism, a kind of idea of lesbian vampirism and stuff like that. But that book, the 1871 novel, predates the Bram Stoker's Dracula, I believe by a few months. I'm not sure. Maybe not a few months, maybe a couple years, but is the rumor or whatever. Like some people think that book inspired Stoker when he wrote Dracula. So I thought that was interesting that you've kind of got this almost the Dracula influenced book also comes into play here. And I know that there's also some references to, I think, the turning of the screw. I'm not sure. I think that's right. I'm not sure. I don't know why don't have that down there. So I did like the idea of what influenced the movie. But like I said, going in, I didn't realize it was about a vampire. You know what I mean?
I didn't either.
Yeah.
The synopsis I had read quickly online made it sound like a slightly different movie. Whereas like you didn't know if she was being played with or not. Like her husband was after her. The synopsis I read was way different.
There was a stuff I read. I don't know if it was for this viewing, but maybe when I heard of the movie.
Right. I think it was when we were putting it on the list.
It was like a group of friends are trying to,
trick Jessica. That's the whole thing. Yeah.
And obviously that's completely not what it's about. So that was a little weird. I didn't understand that. So maybe that's what confused me going into the movie. This is one of Stephen King's favorite horror films, Butler,
which I think is odd. Although I've read a lot of notes where it goes, this is one of Stephen King's favorite.
Well, he watches a lot of stuff.
Obviously,
he's into a lot of that stuff. So I mean, I don't think it's. I know you said you don't like it.
I think there are great ideas in this movie,
right?
But this is a bad movie. I think there is very little that I enjoy about the actual film and the acting and the story and the way that it's shot. Or that's not the way it's shot, but the way it's all put together.
Right.
But I do think the ideas are really well done. I think that it's an interesting idea. I think this could be remade, especially today where things like mental health are taken more seriously.
Sure.
And are given more of a spotlight. I think it deals with, obviously she's got schizophrenia. Obviously it's the whole
no,
thing.
she doesn't have schizophrenia.
It's the whole thing because the voices in her head, are they real or not? And the way the voices are talking are very similar to like what schizophrenic patients describe schizophrenia sounding. It gave me big there's a game out called Hellblade: Send with Sacrifice, that deals a lot with schizophrenia, and they did a lot of research. And your character in that game the whole game is supposed to inspire mental health awareness, and the voices in her head are very much like Jessica's.
Well, I don't know if I'm willing. I do think that she obviously, because it talks about how she was
Institutionalized
institutionalized, and she left. And do they reference why she goes in?
They don't. She just says, "Oh, it's happening again."
Okay.
At some point.
I mean, but you can also make a case for like she has, she's got a massive anxiety disorder. You know what I mean? Like this is the 70s, so you're not really talking about anxiety back then. I get what you're saying.
I get you, but she's seeing bodies, she's hearing voices. Well, that's very schizophrenic.
She saw that woman, but that girl was real.
That girl was real, but she also saw that body, which wasn't there.
What body? She goes, where?
When she thinks she saw the art dealer's body.
No, she did. No, see, that's the thing.
He disappears, and she goes. See, no, because he disappears when she's on the rock, and the husband doesn't see him at first or at all. They don't see that guy. And she goes, "Oh no, it's happening again, isn't it? It's happening again." That's what she says.
But here's the thing, because this is my confusion with the movie. I don't get the scars. I don't understand the scars on the guy's. Everyone has scars.
She cuts to drink the blood. Clearly, she doesn't have teeth.
Okay, I get that.
She's a different kind of vampire,
right? But so she doesn't. She doesn't turn. None of them turned. Like.
No, because it's not a good movie. They don't explore the vampire angle that much. They just mention, "Oh, she's a vampire."
So she just randomly picks some of these people to feed off of, and they just accept it.
I don't know about randomly. It seems like everybody in town.
But it seems like everybody is evil. Everyone's a
douchebag for sure.
No,
it seems like everybody's enthralled though, because at the end of the film, everyone's watching her.
Okay, so you're saying she controls them.
Like I say, possibly. I don't want to make excuses for this movie because it's not. I would say that yes, she controls them. They're all kind of her. Not Rembrandt. I always forget this dude's name.
Renfeld.
Renfeld. They're all her Renfeld.
See, I didn't think that the Dorker at the bottom of the. First of all, that is a terrible last name. Like I'm just like Dorker. Really? That's the name we're coming up with. Was dork not a big word back then?
Dork.
Yeah, that was a little. It's a little weird when I have to sit here and talk about Dorker. But anyways, I didn't think that he was fake on the bottom there because the girl's real. So the girl waved her over to if the girl is real and the girl waves her over to the cliff, she's showing her Dorker on the ground. So why would Dorker be not real, be dead down there? I don't get that.
I'm not saying he's not. He was. I think he was really dead.
Yeah. So
for sure.
Oh, you're just saying the fact that she says it's happening again.
I think that means that yes, before she was seeing things and hearing.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Well, the movie can't be that bad, Butler, because it got Hancock the Jaws 2 gig.
It got him. He got fired because he wasn't good enough.
No, he got fired for a variety of reasons on the Jaws 2. I mean, he fired somebody. No, the producer Scheinberg wanted Lorraine Gray, his wife at the time, to be in the movie more, and he didn't want to. I think he rewrote the script. There was a bunch of things that they changed, and then he fired somebody that happened to be the girlfriend of one of the execs. I think it was just like, I mean, granted, you got a big shot to do Jaws 2, and he wanted to do a different Jaws 2 than what they did, which I thought his idea was a little interesting. How Amity was a ghost town. Everything was boarded up. Nobody was there, but like none of the people in Amity wanted to board up their stores. They didn't want their storefronts blocked. So he felt he was fighting against that. But I actually liked his idea. I was like, that makes sense because nobody wanted to go to Amity more because of the shark attacks. But yeah, no, he got the job for Jaws 2 based upon how he shot that lake scene with Jessica and the woman. How he used the woman underneath when she grabbed her.
Yeah,
that's how he got the job.
Okay.
What? It's
okay. It's fine.
Man,
that shot's fine.
He did Prancer.
It's fine. Like I say, it's shot fine, but it's cut weird. You don't get a lot of time with your characters. They has Jessica smiles the whole time. It just acts like
she's fake. She's fake smiling.
I get it, but it's just kind of like, come on.
Did you not like her
husband? Makes no sense at all. I don't get the husband's motivation, his emotions, his acting, his dialogue. Nothing is real in terms of those characters. They don't seem real. They seem there to have this plot go forward. It just doesn't resonate with me. It shouldn't resonate with anybody. Jessica, sure, she's real. She's got mental health issues. The smiling is a little weird, a little much.
But that's because she's trying to fake
it, like act like everything's okay. But
yeah,
it's just the rest of it just doesn't work for me. I think it's underlying. It's got a great idea, which is, I think, ahead of its time in terms of 1971. But it's just not a good movie.
Right.
Like The Mouse. which is a mole. Just call it a fucking mouse.
Well,
man.
they couldn't get a. It is a mouse.
Scribble out mole and put mouse.
I didn't get the mole.
It's got
thing.
no eyes. You just had a close up of it.
I also don't understand what Woody's doing. Like, I don't understand. So, hey, we bought this house. We need money.
Right.
Let's sell everything out of the house. Antique it. Okay. What's the orchard like? Do you sell apples? Like,
I think the plan is to sell apples.
Okay, but but here's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Are you watering the apples? Are you poisoning? Are you killing the bugs? What are you doing exactly?
He's putting insecticide on it.
Right, but I didn't understand why Woody was living with them.
He was helping the husband out while they were getting on their feet.
Okay.
And he was like, as long as I get a room and board or whatever, it's cool.
Sure. Okay.
I think he's a hippie.
No, I get it. I get it. There's a lot. That's the other part of this movie that one of the themes that they're using in this film is kind of the hippie culture, the ending of the hippie culture, the death and corruption of the counterculture, kind of like how they didn't achieve what they wanted to achieve.
So now it's time to get jobs, you lazy bastard.
Well, you know what but like that, like how, like when they have the hearse and you had they had the love thing on the hearse.
Right. Yeah.
And then you see it again. It's been scraped off by these old guys. Like, number one, punch these old guys in the face.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Got
like
his foot on the car.
When they're just and I get it. They're not actors. They're clearly not actors because they're half smiling all the time. Like one of the dudes is always smiling. I'm just like, come on, man. No one said stop smiling. But just punch these guys in the face. I mean, these guys aren't going to do anything. They're like 70 years old, and they're all like in your face. Like, just knock them down. But I get it. But it's that whole idea of the counterculture, just kind of like they didn't achieve what they wanted to achieve, and I thought that was interesting. I liked that in the movie. But it's not like when they first show up and they drive in the hearse and everyone's staring, and then they're driving around like, yeah, the station wagon was much expensive, or whatever they said. It's like, why are you being a jerk? Just keep going. Just keep driving, stuff like that. So, I understand why a lot of that stuff is in there, and I understand the whole Woody aspect and Woody character. But like, they meet Emily, she's there, she's in the house, she makes some excuse why she's there. And I guess I understand what you're saying about Duncan, about the husband and his motivation. Like, what is he doing? What's he saying?
Mm-hmm.
But don't you have to think that maybe like Emily's influence is on him now at this point? Like, if we're saying that the entire town is infatuated.
Sure, I get when she comes down and he finally does, the deed.
Not that point, just in general.
Yeah. In general, his infatuation, sure. But the way he treats Jessica doesn't make sense. It's back and forth. It's all over the place. I don't understand.
Maybe he's just not a good husband. He quits his job at the Philharmonic to be with her in the country.
It's not that he's not a good husband. It's that he's not a good character.
Mm-hmm.
His character, they do not explore these characters at all. It's just completely just haphazard. I mean, Woody's there to die.
Well, why does he die and not get turned or whatever? Why does he die?
I think Woody dies because he was too infatuated with Emily. I think she was just like, come here, I got to get rid of you. I've already played my hand with Jessica, so I'm done with you and your.
So her whole. Do you think that her whole goal? I know you're going to tell me I don't think they knew, but I'm going to ask you. Do you think Emily's whole goal was to have Jessica be by her side?
I think so.
Okay.
Well, because isn't that picture Jessica? Not Jessica, but. It's Emily, another girl, and then
the father. The father. I thought that was her parents. No?
Well, yeah, but maybe she's trying to recreate that kind of family dynamic. The other guys in the town are all old.
Yeah.
So maybe she just wants some more young people to be with, like vampires forever.
Right. Okay.
Like trying to recreate that photo, essentially. Recreate that family.
Right. Okay. Go ahead. I cut you off your train of thought in terms of...
I don't remember what my train of thought was, so that's fine. No, I was just talking about how I think Woody was just there to die. That's what we're talking about.
Okay.
And yeah, I said my piece.
I said my piece on Woody. I'm moving.
I think he's just there to die.
Oh, poor Woody.
He's there to be our one victim of Emily.
I do like when she discovers Woody and he's like,
oh, that is a good shot. I like that.
I couldn't tell. I mean, that was just him. I don't think his neck was a prosthetic, obviously. But like when she stands there and then the insecticide spray like nails her.
I was like, oh, come on. Oh, gross.
I mean, at that point, obviously that's water. But like my whole thing is like when he comes back, when Emily kills him and he comes back in, it's like, I'm like, have you been in the fields for 6 hours doing insecticide? Like, you've been out there that long? I'm like, yeesh.
Because Jessica goes out. Jessica's in the attic. Woody's doing his insecticide.
Yeah.
Jessica goes to the water. Insecticide. Jessica runs back in the house and locks herself in the attic. Insecticiding. 4 hours goes by, still insecticiding. She gets a ride into town.
He's still out there.
It's the biggest orchard ever, man.
So I know you said you didn't like the score. But this is one of the first horror films to use a synthesizer to feature it in its score. Does that help at all? No.
That's still bad. How
about that? In 2006, the Chicago Film Critics Association pronounced this movie as the 87th scariest film ever made. Does that help you at all?
No, because it's not scary. The movie's not good.
It's not creepy scary?
No.
Really?
No.
You didn't get when they were in the beginning of the movie when she was doing the rubbings of the graves. You didn't get a Night of the Living Dead vibe?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, with the girl.
The Night of the Living Dead is fantastic.
Obviously.
Yes. To the beginning, I was like, okay, that's interesting. But this is a lot of wasted potential in this film.
Okay.
And this movie is clearly it makes sense that this is like a 1970s schlock grindhouse, like hippie dive movie that got rewritten by a guy who wanted to elevate it past what it was.
Was that clear because I told you it was, or was it clear when you were watching it?
It's clear now to me.
Okay.
I mean, but it's kind of like it wants to be better than it is.
Well,
which is great. Which is great.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's not. And I don't think it can get past. I think maybe John Hancock tried to get. We call him John Hancock.
That's his name.
I get it.
It might be fake. It might be a stage name.
But it's clear that he wanted to elevate it beyond, what it was. And I think his ideas are great. But I think at its base, it was still that schlocky grindhouse film. And I think it would have been better to just be that.
I don't think it would ever. Well, how about does it bother you? Maybe it bothers you that Jessica was purposely written as an unreliable narrator. Does that bother you at all with the storytelling? Like you can't trust her?
No, I think that's great. I think that really works because that makes it seem like, okay, is she just being tricked or not? But I don't think they play with that idea enough.
Okay.
Within outside of Jessica's psyche. That's Jessica keeps thinking that, but we get no hint that or twists or anything that make us want to think, oh, wow, maybe she is just being played with, or maybe she is just going crazy, other than what's being told to us through her narration.
I'm not arguing with the, like, I find the movie very intriguing and interesting. I'm not, obviously they didn't hit on what they were trying to do a lot of times, but one of the reasons why I find it intriguing and interesting is just what its subject matter is, like what it's based on, like just the older book, the Carmilla book, what he's trying to do. He's taking chances with like the unreliable narrator, the whole theme of the counterculture being corrupt and dying. I probably want a little bit more of that. I think if you kind of leaned on that part a little bit, maybe it would have been.
Sure, like I said, this should be remade into a better movie. The bones.
For those who don't know, Butler is sitting across from me with his arms folded, like he's like just like enough. Yeah, like that's the look you're giving me right now.
I don't.
The look you're giving me right now.
Movies that you don't like.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like
How
that.
Do you want me to put my arms?
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that your body language is conveying how you feel.
Listen, I make excuses for a lot of movies. And that always kind of pisses you off.
I
can't. But
listen,
I can't make an excuse for this.
Pissing me off for the sake of the podcast is different than pissing me off.
You.
Yeah.
But like, I can't think of a way to excuse this. Not excuse
you don't have
movie.
to.
Exactly.
I'm telling you. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm working off of here. That's what I'm working on. I'm just telling you that the stuff going into the movie is probably more intriguing and interesting to me than what the output of the movie was.
Yes.
Maybe that's the case.
I think it's got great ideas. I love the mental health angle to it. I think that's fantastic. I really like that. I like the idea that maybe she's making all that up as well. Maybe she's being tricked, or maybe it's just all in her head. Oh, that kind of goes along with the mental health issue kind of thing, but they don't explore that much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very quick to go, nope, yep, she's a vampire. Let's go. Which, great. It's got to have a short runtime, but I would not want this movie to be much longer. But
we've talked about it countless times about horror films that you're looking at 90 to 100 minutes is your sweet spot.
Yeah, very few horror films need to be 2 hours.
No horror films need to be 2 hours.
Well, horror thriller like a Sixth Sense, or even like a What Lies Beneath.
Horror, like a genre mix.
Yes.
Kind of, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
If I shouldn't say they should never be 2 hours. If you're going to go over, if you're going to be long, it better be worth it. Let's put it that way. More horror films stumble when they go too long. Let's put it. That's probably the best thing to say.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Do you think that, and I didn't see anything when I looked it up, do you think that part of this movie maybe inspired What Lies Beneath kind of?
Oh no, What Lies Beneath is inspired by Hitchcock. Is inspired by that's the complete him doing Hitchcock.
Just completely.
That's that he said that. Yeah, but
Because there's things in this movie that really kind of harkened back to What Lies Beneath to me.
Well, I think that. Well, obviously the water angle.
The water angle, having the bodies. Not seeing the bodies.
I mean, maybe, but like this, I think we talk about not last year, the first Forgotten Horror season we did Burnt Offerings, and that was a 70s film. And I've discussed countless times on the podcast how I prefer the 70s horror creep vibe kind of thing to Get Out.
Sure.
Us, like just kind of like although I grew up on slasher, Jason and Freddy, I do like those movies, but the writer in me, the story guy in me likes the 70s ones because there's more to the background. So I think that this is the beginning of that. I think I'm not saying this movie harkened that in, but I think this movie is evident of that time frame.
It's one of them. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But I think What Lies Beneath, I think is a nice mix of that. I think it's more of a thriller than it is. If What Lies Beneath was more horror than thriller, maybe. Yeah, I could see that. I think you could have more elements. So like Michelle Pfeiffer talking to herself, that kind of thing. Yeah. But that's more of a thriller.
Oh yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But I was getting like a certain plot points and stuff. Kind of was like, it's kind of similar.
I like What Lies Beneath. I know a lot of people don't like What Lies Beneath.
I do not like What Lies Beneath.
I know you don't. I liked seeing Harrison Ford as a bad guy because he's never a bad guy.
Spoilers.
Oh, please. He's never the bad guy. And it's nice to see. It was good. Like, oh, sweet. He's like the jerk. Like he's like, the bad guy. Right. And like good. And it's like, because sometimes I'm not saying he does it, but sometimes some actors will only play certain roles.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It's good to see him change it up. Do you not like the title? Do you think the title adds to the confusion? Because the original title was just Jessica. And one of the Paramount execs, I think Frank Yablons, that's the name I have here, changed the title to Let's Scare Jessica to Death.
I mean, Let's Scare Jessica to Death is definitely going to get more butts in the seats. It's definitely going to be like, ooh, to death. All right. So it's a horror. All right, let's watch this. Jessica doesn't really convey like.
Well, they failed.
Right.
Well, supposedly.
No.
Unless she's stuck on the water. I mean, I don't know what are you supposed to assume after that? She's just going to rowboat over?
Well, I think she's going back into an institution. I think that kind of broke her.
No one's going to believe her.
No one's going to believe her. She's murdered her husband.
Yeah,
They'll find him.
I didn't understand that. Like, why was that the last thing?
I was wondering too. No matter what, she kills him.
Yeah.
So that's the whole point of that.
But he was already
so either he was so enthralled, he was just trying to get her back.
Yeah.
Or he had snapped out of it and was trying to get to her.
I assume that you can't snap out of it.
So
see, that's the thing.
Who cares? The whole point is that she kills him, and that's all you need. Hooks him to death in the spine.
That's right. That's right. That's what I was trying. What did she use again? But yeah, she did. You used that like
fish hook.
The fish hook thing. Yeah. Absolutely.
That did look good.
That part,
because it was like she was definitely hitting something chunky in that bathroom. I was like, ooh, right in the spine.
So I mean, obviously, you think it's forgotten because it's bad. That's why you think it's forgotten. That's your thing.
I think it's forgotten because although it deals with issues that I think would really work in a film now, especially a lot of horror film now. That's the big thing, is dealing with mental health issues. I think the acting is not good. Not great.
Okay.
I think that the characters are undefined other than maybe Jessica. I think that
well, you don't get the sense, you don't know why Duncan left. You don't get the idea that he left the Philharmonic for her unless you read the synopsis. Yes, he's got a big giant bass, which is not great to pull out at parties when you're playing the guitar. I love that. Oh, you're playing guitar.
Really go along. It's like he's got to get the song. Hold on, let me play some Simon and Garfunkel here. Do 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 boop boop. This is not jazz, dude.
Yeah, so I don't think they ever really said.
They say he left the Philharmonic.
Did he?
He used to work with the Philharmonic.
Yeah, okay, fine, but he didn't.
Will you ever go back there? Oh, maybe one day. But right now, I got the orchard. I'm a man of nature.
See, I didn't really pick up on that in terms of like I left for her kind of thing. I left for Jessica.
You don't get that because you don't believe that they're a couple, because that's not. They just don't explore that enough. But I think that's a big reason. I think you look at movies like Burnt Offerings, which is fantastic. Similar time period, similar style, similar creep factor, similar tone. There are other movies that have come out at this time that are bigger, better films that have lifes beyond when it came out, and maybe have had directors and actors who have done more afterward. Whereas this don't really have that. Like Burnt Offerings has, what's his face?
Has Oliver Reed, but also Karen Black and Betty Davis, Lee Montgomery, Burgess Meredith.
It's got cast. It's got people.
Sure.
Other ones have the luck of having a director who really goes on to do a lot of stuff afterward.
Right.
Or they spawned numerous sequels, which Let's Scare Jessica to Death really, even if it was, and this isn't to say it's not a good film, although I don't think it is. I'm just saying it's not getting sequels. And I'm not saying that because I think it's a bad movie. It's not getting sequels because it doesn't call for it.
Sure.
And I think it'd be very hard to give it a sequel unless you're just doing Emily's character again, enticing another girl somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a cult classic. It's definitely a cult classic. I mean, it came out on Blu-ray by the Scream Factory last year, January 2020. So I think that if Hancock didn't get fired from Jaws 2, like if he actually did Jaws 2, his career path would have been different.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if that was the case, if this movie would have got more play, because you do Jaws 2. It's going to be successful because it's the sequel. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're going to get another film. You're going to start getting the 80s horror. Like he's going to start getting those type of films, and people are going to go back to Let's Scare Jessica to Death and be like, oh, this is his first one. It's like, it's fascinating about
how things become cult classics.
How stuff happens.
Right.
Like he had a huge opportunity. You do this movie for $180,000, $250,000 in Connecticut. It's just you and a bunch of theater actors. You put it together, you do something, and it catches the eye of Paramount, and you get offered a sequel to one of the biggest summer films of all time, and you lose the job. Whatever. If it's not your fault, if it is your fault, whatever,
right.
And you lose that gig, and it's like, what could have been? Like, I wonder if is this Hancock's best film? Like, would this have been his best film? Probably not. He probably had a better film in him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, he's done other stuff. Listen, he's had better.
Slowly.
Yeah, no, I get you, but I'm just saying, I'm wondering what would have happened if he completed Jaws 2 and he was able to do what he wanted to do. Like, where would he have gone? I mean, that's fascinating to me. I don't know. I don't know why. It just is. I like a lot of the stuff.
One day you'll make a small film.
No,
it'll get picked up, and then you'll make Jaws 8.
Not at all. I'll totally do Jaws 8. I'll do any bad sequel. I don't care. But I just, I know I have a soft spot for indie films, and if there was a spinoff for Forgotten Cinema where I'm just sitting here, it would be called Indie Film. That's all I'm doing.
You would defend them all.
You wouldn't be on that, but yes. But I just, there's a lot of stuff that circles this film that fascinates me, and I agree with you. I'm not sitting here telling you this film is fantastic. It's got, but like I am interested in what everything went into the film and beyond it is forgotten for a lot of the reasons you said. I don't think it's very flashy. I don't think it's one of the top films of the 70s in this genre. I understand that people are saying it's the scariest film ever made. I don't know. Cause we're talking, that's 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Holy crap.
Do you want me to pull up the horror movies of the 70s?
No, I'm just saying it's like what people watched up until this, you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
Why it would get like one of the people would think is one of the scariest films ever made because of just like what came before and just kind of like what they're used to in a horror film. And then you have this film. That's all. I just find that fascinating. I find the history of film fascinating in terms of like what hits, what doesn't hit, what works. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Oh, it's okay. You cannot like the film, Butler. It's all right.
I like how defensive you get when I don't like something.
I'm not defensive. I'm simply trying to give the people that are listening and you just why I don't feel the same way you do. Maybe I'm viewing it from a different angle. That's probably what I'm saying. That's all. That's all I'm saying. That's all. I didn't come away from this film being like, like you. I came away when I went into the facts and started looking into it. I found that more fascinating. Maybe that's what it. Maybe if I watch it again, I'd probably fall asleep or something like that.
I think you find the career of John D. Hancock more fascinating that it makes.
I just can't believe you got Jaws 2 from this. What happened? Like well,
clearly you saw.
I read some of the stuff.
You pissed off too many people.
But like we talk about all the time, when you read stuff on the internet, you don't know what's real and what's not real.
You gotta play ball, man.
No, I get you. No, listen,
Look at Rogue One.
Oh, I know. listen, I get a chance to do something like that, I'm going to be like, whatever. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Sir.
Yeah. No.
You got to build up that credit before you can really. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I, but some people can't. I mean, I remember, quick story. I won back in the, maybe this is like 15 years ago. I optioned a script, one of the scripts I wrote, not for a lot of money. So calm down, everyone. I optioned a script and I was sitting with the producer and we were just talking about like what she wanted to do with the movie. And I was like, whatever you want, that's fine. But she started telling me how she's on another movie where they got this guy and he had done a short film and it was his first directed movie he was doing with her.
Yep.
And the budget was $1 million and they were ready to go. And he walks down. He's like, I can't do this I need 10 million. I need more money to do this. I'm just like, he said, and she's like, yeah. And so like, we just, and she was like, I'm like, are you kidding me? This is his first.
And he wanted a 10X.
He wanted more movie. He wanted more money. This is his first movie. He wanted more money right off the bat. I'm like, are you just not want a career? Is that what you're doing here? I mean, I understand it's an art form. It's art. But it's also a business. It's called show business. So I don't get that.
10X the money.
I don't. Yeah. I don't even think the movie ever got made.
Christopher Nolan wouldn't even 10X his budget.
Yeah. And the script that I like, what's funny is it was the Max Fleming script.
That's really? Okay, cool.
And she was like, would you mind changing the character's name? Would you mind changing the character's gender? And I was like, whatever you want. Whatever you want to do to make the
Max
movie.
Fleming is gender neutral name. So
I don't care. I said, I actually wrote that script 4 or 5 different ways with different types of characters, different names, and I was like, whatever you want, it's fine. I don't just make the movie. I don't care what you do. Yeah. I'm not like, it's not like, no, this is my opus. It's like, no, whatever you want is fine. I understand the name of the game there, but yeah, so that's probably why you got Jaws 2, man. What happened? Anyways, well, that's the end of Forgotten Horror, Butler. You have any thoughts about we do a little quick recap of what the 4 films we did or no?
Sure.
We didn't do that last time. I mean, it's kind of like a serial thing.
I like that we did. I don't think I saw a single one of the films. Yeah, I didn't see a single one of these films that we chose.
This is the only one I never saw.
I had not seen a single one, which is the first time out of the 3 years.
So you picked the Carpenter films. So
I didn't. To be fair, I picked the Sam Neill film and the Carpenter film. I didn't realize it was a Carpenter film because it didn't seem like a Carpenter film from the trailers I had seen.
Right.
For In the Mouth of Madness, obviously. But I like it. I think we had a good mix.
Yeah.
I don't think any of the films we watched were particularly scary. Although maybe
creepy.
Prince of Darkness had a good creep factor.
I'm blanking on the second one. What did we do? What was the second film? Prince of Darkness.
Prince of Darkness was the second film, wasn't it?
No, that was
that was the first. Prince of Darkness. 30 Days a Night.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
30 Days a Night had a lot of jump scares.
This is jump scares.
And I remember it better than when we watched it. I think that was I know we did that episode 2-3 weeks ago, but
right.
Yeah, I In the Mouth of Madness. Yeah, it's a lot of creepy vibes in this
season.
Yeah,
which is cool.
We don't really pick a lot of slasher films on our list.
It's tough because bad slasher films are bad and good slasher films are good. Although there are a few slasher films that I think nobody talks about that maybe we can put on the list for next year.
Yeah, but every time you, like, for instance, when you talk about Freddy, Nightmare on Elm Street, first one, obviously the classic, but they always talk about the third one.
The third one's pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Was the third one Dream Warriors?
I believe so. Yeah.
Everyone talks, but like everyone knows that, so it's really not forgotten.
That's the thing. Yeah. Freddy's great because he's such a exuberant slasher, and everyone else is just a quiet.
Well, he's always wisecracking. Because you had Jason who said nothing. Yeah, you had Jason who said nothing, and Mike Myers who said nothing, and then Freddy comes along, and it's just like he's like riffing and stuff like that. Yeah. And Freddy, Robert Englund, just choose that scene. Oh yeah, of course.
And then you get Hellraiser, and Hellraiser kind of does the same thing, but in a more like
Hellraiser's more like
creepy way.
He talks, but he's not like
he's not funny.
Yeah, Pinhead. He doesn't. Yeah. I know his name's not Hellraiser.
His name wasn't really Pinhead, and that just kind of.
I know, but that's how everyone knows him.
That's why in the second one they call him Pinhead, and it's just that's not his name.
Poor Clive.
That's just. But there are some slashers out there with characters that just never really got sequels or that many sequels that are pretty good. We can look at.
No, I just curious
from the early 70s
what we pick, what we choose. Yeah, no.
We do tend to choose more creepy, and I think, like you said, it's the writer in you. It's the
totally
in me. It's
totally.
It's that creepy vibe, I think, is more important than just having jump scares or a lot of blood on screen.
Right.
Being said, I also love Evil Dead, where they just throw gallons and gallons of blood.
Well, I'm trying to think. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, sorry, Butler. It's only 4 next year.
We'll get to 5 again. We'll do a 5 again.
That must come around like whatever, one every 4 years.
Probably.
Well, if the podcast is still going on.
Always.
All right. So I guess let everyone know where they can find us.
You can find us at ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com or ForgottenEntertainment.com, as we are part of the Forgotten Entertainment family. You can also find us on the socials, Instagram, Facebook. Join The Lobby. It's our Facebook group where we talk about films. We just had when we're recording this, we just had an argument about Dante's Peak and Volcano.
Dante's Peak's better.
Yeah, I think my mom reignited the flame within him, and now he's all about it. So if you want to give us your take on whether Dante's Peak or Volcano is better, or that I'm completely wrong about my take on Let's Scare Jessica to Death and I'm just an idiot who doesn't know movies, please go to The Lobby and let's talk about it. And then on Instagram, we have posts every week. We field post some of the facts about the movies as well right before it comes out. So if you want those in writing, or maybe a little bit of a deeper, more factual fact that might be interesting, like they used this kind of blood in something, that's where that's going to be. So check all that out.
So this is the end of season 10. The Forgotten Horror always ends it out. And we are starting season 11 next week, excuse me. We're kicking off with a movie from 1996, The Ghost and the Darkness. Starring Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer.
And I have always mispronounced it as The Ghost in the Darkness.
Wow. Interesting. Well, join us next week where Butler learns how to say the name of the movie correctly.
I already did. I just learned it. Come on.
All right. We'll see you next week. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Horror. Back to Forgotten Cinema next week.
Keep it spooky, y'all.
For one more year.
Keep it spooky, y'all.
Happy Halloween.